morning, everyone. This is Chris on Around the ATL. I saw the intro lag in there a second. I'm going to have to redo the whole intro again. Welcome. This is October 21st, 2025. The Atlanta Hawks season is about to begin. And with that being said, we have a very special guest this morning. He is an expert in everything Atlanta Hawks. He knows from the beginning to the end everything about the team. He has broadcast over 3,000 Atlanta Hawks games, guys. So that's why he's an expert in his career. In fact, this year, he'll be calling his 41st year of calling Atlanta Hawks games. He is the real voice of the Atlanta Hawks, our very own Steve Holman. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Chris, thank you. It's always great to be with you. And, remember, I was 12 when I started. So
I'm telling you, got that experience. And in fact, I want to say you're approaching Chick Hearn. You're hogging him down in those consecutive games. When you called your very first Atlanta Hawks game, Steve, could you imagine 41 years consecutive?
no, I honestly, no. I was hoping, honestly, too, I was hoping to be, one of those lifetime guys, like Johnny Most or Chick Hearn or, Vin Scully in baseball, who became the hometown announcer. And that was what I was hoping for. But I never dreamt about really, 41 years. It's kind of crazy to think that now, but here we are. And tomorrow night will be 3,084 consecutive if I make it there tomorrow night.
You'll make it there. I'll make sure. I'll drive up there and make sure you get there, Steve. I do want to mention, if some people saw the intro, Jordan, my co-host Jordan Jackson is not with us this morning. He really would have loved to have been here, but again, he's taking care of his mom who's battling cancer. But hopefully, myself and Jordan, it's been a while for us to get to game together. We'll be able to come and visit you this season, Steve.
Well, definitely come by. I always invite everybody to come by too because we're right there at the top of Section 118. So, always like to see everybody. And Mike Conti sits there with me. He's got a lot of Hawks fans come by and see him, and he's got a lot of United fans that come see him too because he calls all those games.
Exactly. So let's get started. So speaking of the offseason, it was a big one this year, and I think most Hawks fans, this is a very important season going into 2025. A lot of moves were made. I myself, at the very end of the 2024 season, I said three things had to happen some way or another. We could get bigger in the middle, have a viable source in regards to the offensive side of the ball. We get a defender on the bench, and we get a backup point guard. So I believe a lot of those needs were addressed this season. We'll go through them one by one. So, Steve, let's go ahead and start with the trade in regards to getting Kristaps Porzingis. What do you think about that trade and Porzingis as a player coming to the Atlanta Hawks squad?
Well, I'll tell you, he's one of the top centers in the NBA, and he has been. And, everybody talks about his health, and if he stays healthy, I think he looks good right now to me, and he's ready to go. And I think he's excited to be here too. I've talked to him a few times since he got here and during the preseason, and he's really excited. And I wouldn't be surprised if something happens this year with him too, where he signs an extension with the Hawks because he said he's really happy to be here. He's looking forward to playing with Trey. And the one thing he said was going to be different here from Boston that he was looking forward to was the weather.
Yeah, it's a night and day change as far as that weather for sure. A lot of people forget about Porzingis. You kind of alluded to in regards to he's not going to play more than 2 games the whole season. But that being said, 9 years in his career, he's 18 to 23 points a game. So right. He doesn't have anything to prove as far as what he can do on the court. So if people can't see the value of what he can bring to the table right off the bat, just based off of that, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, to get him was, I was shocked when we got him because, I knew the Celtics were going to be trying to unload some salary and that, but, Ansi pulled that off, and it was a great thing to see. And, as far as the games he plays and how many he's going to play, is he going to play 60? Is he going to play 70? I don't think it matters. I think the way he plays, like you said, his average over the years. And the other night, here's a good example. Our last preseason game, he scored like 23 points. I think he had 8 or 10 rebounds in just a short amount of time. And he was upset with that. He thought he just was playing half speed that night, but he still scored 23 and 8 or 10 or whatever he got, and didn't play what he thought was his best. So when he comes out of the gate tomorrow night, and I know Trey is this way too. I think they're both kind of guys that when the lights come on, they really want to play. I know for myself, I don't really enjoy the preseason games because It's just them, everybody's kind of vanilla with their plays and what they're doing, and you're going to see a lot of guys that you won't see during the season play. So to me, I think players kind of feel that way too. So when the light goes on tomorrow night, I think they're all going to be ready.
Yes, sir. The draft. We ended up doing a move, and we ended up getting Asa Newell. Tell me a little bit about that young man, Steve.
Well, Asa, he's amazing, really. He's the nicest kid. I say kid about everybody now, but he really is. He's not old enough to drink yet, just as many of our players have been over the last few years. But you can just see in the preseason games how active he is. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity between the Hawks and maybe a little G League time this year too. But you could see that he has a nose for the ball. He knows what he's doing. He's out there, and I think a lot of people are calling it the steal of the draft. I'm no draft expert, but I agree with them. I say, hey, if he was available when they got him, they did, and then to get the whole thing with the Pelicans pick is amazing because they're probably going to struggle this year because of injuries and such. But we get their pick or Milwaukee, whichever one turns out to be better. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there either. So I think we're looking forward to a bright future too, along with the players that we have right now.
Exactly. Now, I do want to mention some of the people that we got in free agency, Nikhil Alexander Walker and Luke Kennard. So, of course, NAW kind of addresses that defensive part of what I said we needed on the bench, but he also can hit shots. And then you have Luke, which is kind of like the gravy of the offseason, where he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. Talk to us about what you feel they will bring to the table in regards to the Hawks.
Well, I think I'm walking over. My puppy dog needs to go outside right now, so I'm just
Gotcha,
opening the
gotcha.
door for him. There he goes. That's Teddy, my dog. So, Nikhil is going to be one of those shutdown defenders too, along with Dyson. And I think if we put the two of them on the floor together, defensively, that's going to be amazing to see the two of them. So I'm really looking forward to that. But Nikhil's going to add that. He can shoot threes, as all of our guys can right now. So that's going to be a big help there. His size, we went from one of the smallest teams in the league to one of the largest now, which is something that Quinn had wanted all last year. You heard him say a lot of times after games that we just didn't have the size that we needed. And Ansi addressed all that. I mean, this is a GM that's listening to his coach. I mean, and brings in what he wants. And then you mentioned Luke Kennard too. He's a veteran guy who's been around the block and is a professional shooter, as we like to say. He can shoot threes from anywhere on the floor. I think he's going to be an instant offense kind of boost off the bench for us. And really, and we haven't mentioned Dyson signing that new extension, so that's going to be exciting too. That he's here now for the next 4 years. We know that, and that's off of his mind right now. So I'm pretty excited. I mean, we've got a good solid 8, 9, 10 group of guys right now.
And one of the things I've talked about as well is depth. And I was going to get to Dyson in a minute, but this is one of the deepest teams that the Hawks have had in many, many, many decades, truthfully, as far as I'm concerned, because I think we're deep at all positions where we haven't been before. Which brings me to my next. You have Dante and Nicola and Caleb and Danye and Jacob and Keaton Wallace. Those players being on the team and what they can contribute, I believe, is going to, again, it help define the season for the Hawks, where a year ago and 2 years ago and 3 years ago, there's just times and instances where you just didn't have enough. You mentioned Dyson and the extension. This is going to be his second year as a starter. His
Right.
first year as a starter, he averaged 14 points on 49% shooting, led the league in steals and deflections, also had, I believe, 6 rebounds and 4 assists a game as well. In regards to Dyson now, like you said, solidified here, what do you think he's going to do in his second full year as a starter?
Well, I know his offense has been improving. He's been going like this on offense since he got here. Quinn has really helped him, and all of our developmental coaches have helped him a lot with the offense. We know he can play defense. We know about the steals, but the offense is something I've seen some people on Twitter writing about. Well, his offense was terrific at the end of last year. He improved so much with that. And there's so many people on the floor that he's going to have his opportunities to go to the basket. He improved his 3 point shooting. So I think that's something that we really need to keep an eye on too, is his offense. And you know what? I was just thinking, Chris. You know who we haven't even mentioned yet is Jalen Johnson. I mean, and here's Jalen, who might end up being our best player on the team. Along with Trey and Porzingis. I mean, and he looks like he's ready to go. He looks really healthy.
Keeping that a
Uh,
bit.
he looks strong. He's built up his upper body a lot. So I know he worked with LeBron a little bit this summer too, but we won't hold that against him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. And Riza came back, looked like a whole new person. I mean, he is bulked up. I told him he looked like Popeye, and he was like, "Yeah, Popeye." So he's excited for the season too.
And I was going to get to Jalen, Okongwu, Moke, Zach. They're all coming back again. And with Zach coming into his second full season in the NBA, his first season, you know, I think he had 4 30-point games in his first season in the NBA. That's stupendous right there. I think Mo Gay, I think he's going to be definitely a spotlight because last year he showed on the defensive side what he can do. If he can hit shots on a consistent basis, it makes him an omega level threat on the floor all of a sudden. Because last year there were instances where he just wasn't hitting any shots, and the league
Right.
knew it. There was
Yeah.
that one game I always talk about, that Dallas game, April 2nd, where Anthony Davis was just going to let him shoot it, and he did.
Right.
And if Mo Gay comes into the season and is 36% from three all of a sudden, it just makes us even a much better team.
Yeah, well, the thing about Mo is too that he's not going to have the pressure on him that he had last year, because of the injuries and such. He had to play a lot, and in our last, in fact, I think in that last play-in game that we played against Miami, I think he started. So, I mean, it tells you how far we've come this summer that he doesn't have to start right now, and he can. Quinn can pick his spots with him, and I think one of the great things about the depth, like you mentioned, is that this is an 82 game season, and as we love to say, it's a marathon and not a sprint. So you want to be ready for the playoffs when that comes, and I honestly think we're going to be at least in that top six, probably higher than that. If everything goes well and everybody stays healthy. But the depth is going to be so important during the regular season because you've got so many games and so many nights, and there's going to be bumps and bruises, and guys are going to get dinged up. And I think it's going to be a luxury that Quinn is going to have that if somebody's not quite 100%, well, maybe, take a break tonight. You don't have to play tonight because we've got all these other guys. And Mo is one of those guys. And, Veet, we haven't mentioned either. And, Veet's going to do a lot of the backup point guard stuff along with Keaton Wallace. And I'm so proud and happy for Keaton, all the work that he's put in to get that regular contract now and be on the team. We had a little get together Sunday preseason, a little party type thing, and he was there and had his little baby there, and he was just beaming, from ear to ear. So I'm just so happy for Keaton. He's such a great kid, and here we are on Saturday night. He's going to get to play against his brother again, and they're both going to be on full rosters now.
Yeah, Keaton definitely was one of the players I said at worst, he has to be at least the third backup point guard on the team with a shot to get some minutes as the backup because he can do everything you need for a backup point guard to do. So I'm very happy about him. So last but not least, Steve, I do have to, of course, mention a little bit about this one guy that we have on our team. His name is Trae Young, right? Just got to get to him. So I want to say something because there's people out there in the ether sphere that say, well, Trey has to prove something this season. And I say, well, I think it was more the organization that needed the burden of proof that they could build a team around the best player on the team, as all these other teams in the NBA has put good players around their best players, right? Because why would Trey need to prove something when right now he's third all time in assists per game, he's 12th all time in points per game, he's 80th all time in assists, which after this season he'll probably be 50th all
Right.
time in NBA history in assists, right?
Yeah.
He led the league in fourth quarter scoring last year. He was second in the NBA in points generated, right behind the Joker, who's the biggest guy out there, right? He was first in points generated by assists. And
Yeah.
only LeBron James and James Harden are ahead of him in 30-point, 10 assist games. He also leads the NBA in history in fourth quarter scoring in the playoffs.
Right.
Why is it that people are still so down on Trae Young for some reason?
Well, I think a lot of it, Chris, is that, everything you said, we're kind of preaching to the choir here in Atlanta about him because we know nationally, when he first came into the league, he was kind of brash and, shot a lot of those half court threes, that kind of thing. And I think some of the national media, held that against him, and they still do now. They don't realize that as a person and a player, how much he's grown. This is his eighth season. I mean, he's going to be one of our older players on the team, and what he's done with what he's had has been amazing. And the other thing that I get tired of hearing about now, because he didn't sign that extension before the season started, everybody's assuming, well, where's he going to go? This is the national media for you. This is like, what have you done for me today?
Right.
They all think, immediately, what's the next landing spot for him? What's this and that? I don't think he's worried about that at all, and I don't think the Hawks are worried about it at all either, because I think it's all going to work out. I mean, it definitely will. I mean, I think anyway. I mean, I don't make any of those decisions, but I don't think anybody has to worry about that at all. Let's enjoy the season. Let's watch it play out. Let's see what happens with the playoffs and how this old group works together. Porzingis, as we mentioned, has already said he's open to, an extension. So if everything clicks this year and goes well, I think, and they've got enough cap space now too. Onsi did a great job with that. That signing Dyson to the contract that he did saves us some money, and we've got money now for that without going into the first tier, second tier, or the apron, or whatever they call all that. Billionaires have to worry about. We don't. But I think that they've worked that so nicely, and hats off to Hansi too, because what a job he's done since stepping
Yes.
in here. I mean, it's been terrific to see, and the other general managers in the league also voted that we had the best off season. So that's terrific for Hansi. He's been around a lot too. He was at Golden State when they were putting all that together, and he's been with San Antonio, so he's got all that background to him. And I think he was just waiting for his chance to do this. And now that he's had the opportunity to become the head guy, be the GM, he's really responded in a big way.
Yeah, and I think people underestimate the contracts all the way up because the off season is the off season all the way until game one of the regular season, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of people are misnomering, or however you want to say it, the contracts and how he structured things to make it possible to get both Trey and Porzingis into
Yeah.
an extension territory there. So I think a lot of people really need to kind of pay attention to that because again, Trey is the only 25-10 career player in NBA history as
Right.
a point
Right.
guard. And there's
Right.
only a handful of 25-10 career players ever in the NBA, and Trey happens to be one of them. And a lot of people say, well, all of his accomplishments don't mean nothing because he hasn't won a championship, or they talk about his defense. And I'm like, but Trey is not the one giving up all the points each night because he's not
No.
playing the centers. He's not playing the top
No.
offensive player on the other team. So what are we really talking about there? And Trey's defense has gotten better each of his past 7 seasons as well. The numbers
Yeah.
spell
And
that out.
he's going to have an opportunity to even be better on defense because of the people that are around him. I mean, we've seen it a couple times in the preseason. As long as he's active, gets his hand in the way of a pass here and there, he's going to steal a couple a game himself. And I think it all rubs off. That defensive thing with Dyson and all that rubs off on everybody. So I'm not worried about the Trey or worried about that at all. And like you say, when people start to look at him as a 25-10 guy, they're going to say, whoa. I think his over under on assists this year is like 11 and a half. So that tells you what they think, in Vegas about what he's going to do this year.
He's led the league in potential assists the last 2 years, Steve. Last year was 21 a game. That's a lot. And then he still
Right,
led
that
the
was a
league.
lot of missed shots
There's
by
a
guys
lot
that
of
were
missed
on his
shots.
team.
And the last year alone, the Hawks left 16 to 40 points a game on missed shots generated from Trey. That's going to stop this year because of the people that they have now around Trey. And I've told people this for a long time. Remember, the last time the Hawks did put better players around Trey Young, we went to the Eastern Conference Finals. That was
Exactly.
2004.
Yeah,
And
and
this
I think
team
that,
is
like you
better
say,
than that.
he's got a lot more people that are going to put the ball in the basket this year. And for me, it's a lot more fun for me to say bang than it is no good. I would rather say good every time. So I think it's going to be a fun season. I'm looking forward to it, and I think our offense is going to be terrific. I mean, we're gonna run a lot too. This is something that Quinn wants to do, is run up and down the floor, use our speed and our depth, and I think we're going to wear down some teams too this year. So I'm excited. Of course, I'm always excited, but I'm especially excited this year because I think there are going to be some really big things ahead.
Yeah. And I think that's where the excitement should really be because we're so so far away from the times where you might have said something like this, Steve. Hopefully you can hear this. We're way away from those days, I believe. So I think that's
Yeah.
where I'm excited, and most of the other fans are excited. So that being said, do you think it's going to be important for the Hawks this time to have a fast start to the season? Because a lot of the seasons past, we've
Right.
always had slow starts for one reason or another. And I know we have a lot of new players and they have to gel.
Right.
But do you think it'll be important this particular season for them to have a good start?
I do. I say it all the time, and sometimes people say I say it too much at the beginning of the year that the games in October and November are just as important as the games in March and April, because every one of them counts just the same. So it is important to get off to a quick start. Now, the only thing about that is, we're playing at the beginning here. We're playing 3 games in 4 nights, and one is against Orlando on the road, and then another one's at home against the world champs, against Oklahoma City, and then we have to turn around the day after that, get on a plane and go out for a week. We're going to Chicago, we're going to Brooklyn, Indianapolis, and Cleveland.
Yeah,
That's a tough road trip right out the gate.
yeah,
But I guess on the plus side of that is you can say those are all road games that we're going to get out of the way early, and everybody plays 41 at home and 41 on the road, unless you go to Vegas for that tournament stuff. Like we lost one home game, I think, last year because of that, but I think they'll take it again to go to be part of that. But I think that it all evens out with that, and I think if we can get past that first couple of weeks, it may take 20 games or so for the chemistry to really click in. Sometimes a pass will happen and one guy will zig and he's supposed to zag, and that kind of thing. So it's not going to happen overnight, I don't think. But as the chemistry builds during the season, I think we're really going to see something special here.
And that being said, season predictions. The Hawks won 40 games last year. I think a lot of people
I
forget
know.
that too.
Yeah.
Like we had so much influx in regards to, of course, injuries. Jalen went down and trades and gelling of the new players and stuff like that. We didn't fall apart. We still had the chance to make the playoffs at the very end. It just
Oh,
didn't
we
work.
should have won that Miami game. Kind of let that one get away in the fourth quarter too. So we would have been in the regular playoffs if that had happened, and we almost. I mean, if it had been a normal season without play-ins, we were eighth, so we were in the regular playoffs
Right,
anyway.
right.
But having said that, we want to avoid that this year. The goal is to be certainly in that top six to avoid play-in. But I think that the goal is even higher than that for the guys on this team.
Yeah, I think again we were hair's breadth away from a lot of wins last year. We lost 24 games by 10 points or less last year.
Right.
I don't
That'll
think
turn
that's going
around.
to happen this year. You
I
see
mean,
what
if
I'm
you can turn
saying?
around, let's say you turn around half a dozen of those. I mean, that's something right there. So,
Yeah, so I'm excited about the season.
yeah,
I say we're gonna win 50 this year for sure. That's just me, as far as that goes. But I'm excited because the playoff part of it. We need to
right,
be back in the playoffs because we have one of the best playoff players that you can have. Coach
right,
Spoelstra in that Miami series saw Trae Young average 29 and 10 and said, "I'm not letting him do that with us, especially with all these players hurt." Because Coach
right,
Spo is a good coach, right? And then the
right.
very next season, Trey goes and do 29 and 10
Oh
again.
yeah,
So
I
we need
know.
to get him back into the playoffs again with this group. And I think we have like tremendous opportunities to, again, the Eastern Conference Finals is the East is not what it used to be. It is wide open
It's
now.
wide open, and we talk about the unfortunate injuries to Tatum and Halliburton, but that's part of the business too. So you have to take advantage of that when you can, and I think that they will. And I really, one team that I think that may take a little step backwards too might be Cleveland, because of the year that they had last year. I mean, they're still going to be very good, no question about that. But you know how sometimes they talk about the Super Bowl hangover for the team
Right.
that lost in the Super Bowl. Well, they had such a great season, and then all of a sudden they fell flat in the playoffs, and that may carry over a little bit to them too. So I think there's a lot of opportunities in that Eastern Conference, and I believe it's stronger than the national media are making it out to be, even without Tatum and Halliburton. They kind of poo-poo the East for some reason all the time.
Yeah.
But if they want to do that and watch us take off and soar, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Steve, I want to say again, thank you for taking time out this morning. It's always fun to have you on the show. I'm looking forward to your calls. I was listening to you the other night on with some of the preseason games because I couldn't watch the game. I think people don't forget, you can listen to all the Hawks games on 92.9 The Game, y'all. Don't
Right.
forget that.
And Sirius XM has it too, and they have NBA League Pass now for audio. That's only
Really?
$9.99 for the whole year, and you could listen to any game around the NBA, all for $9.99 a year. And it's pretty easy to find when you go on the NBA site there, but you have to kind of scroll all the way down, and you get to where it says, "Do you want audio only?" And that's only $9.99 for the whole season. That's a pretty good bargain.
That's really good. Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody picks up on that and takes advantage. Well, Steve, I'm gonna let you go. Again, thank you again for being available to join us to talk a lot of Hawks basketball. I'm very excited. And like I said, hopefully myself or Jordan or both of us will come and see you at State Farm Arena this year.
Please do, and all of our fans too. Come on by and say hello. We always love to see everybody.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
And that was our very own Steve Holman, the real voice of the Hawks. Let's put that back up there. We want to follow him on the app formerly known as Twitter. I really am. It's hard for me to say X sometimes, but you can follow Steve there. Very exciting to have him on the show again. Again, we've had him really for the last 4 years or so, either beginning, middle, or end of the season. We try to have him on to talk about what's happening in Hawks basketball. So again, this season, if you're a Hawks fan, again, you should be excited. You should be excited every season. Everybody is 0-0 at the beginning of the season, right? So you should want to see your team take the highest of the highs. No matter what happens during the season, the very beginning of the season is hope, right? And a lot of people forget about that. That's the fun part of the off season and talking about your team and the water cooler talk and stuff like that. You don't know what the future is going to bring. This time, though, you have a pretty good idea it's going to be better than what it's been just because of what this offseason has brought to us. So, again, make sure you follow the IMTN Worldwide Radio page there on YouTube to check out more episodes of Around the ATL coming up. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Bob Rathbun on, the TV broadcast pioneer of the Atlanta Hawks, who's been doing it for the last 30 years now. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Bob on the show. But that being said, it's time for me to get out of here. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed Around the ATL. Again, make sure you follow on the IMTN Worldwide Radio page. You can also follow on the Facebook and Instagram page as well. Y'all take care until next time, and don't worry. I'm going to adjust the intro because we do have to have some changes on there. Some extra people are on the team now, so I got to add some people. So don't worry about that. I'll get to it when I get time. Till next time, y'all take care. Peace.
Dribble, pass, throw.